What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. It's the best one, Donnie here, back with a breaking news video. I apologize for not getting onto this right away, because outside of YouTube, I do work a full-time job, but now I'm finally home from this full-time job, so I have the opportunity to give you guys my thoughts on this and to react to this full interview. But of course, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you love professional wrestling like I do, help support this channel by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real. And in this video here, we are going to be reacting to Stephen A's full interview with Triple H. The only thing that I know in this interview is that Triple H gave an update on his health, and he is no longer able to compete inside the wrestling ring. So he has announced his in-ring retirement. But besides that, I don't know what else he's been up to, because Triple H has been very quiet ever since his health issues have happened. And I love Triple H, and if you're a wrestling fan, like, who doesn't love Triple H? But we're going to try to get this reaction video out as soon as possible. So, yeah, I say we play this video here. So, let's hear what Triple H and Stephen A have to say.
We welcome in 14-time world champion, 9-time WWE champion.
I love Stephen A. Just want to say that. I love his basketball takes, and I love his interviews and stuff.
Everyone else is the one and only Triple H. How are you, my man? How's everything?
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain. Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all,
it's so good to see Triple H, man.
This is my problem with you.
Thank God he's healthy now.
You're supposed to have had a health issue, but you're sitting in front of me looking better than me. Looking better than me.
Looking better than me, that's for damn sure.
That three-piece you got going on is on fire. So,
how are you, man?
I'm doing good now. You know, it's been a incredibly tough last 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, coming out of SummerSlam, leading into that, I had been on about a 12-day road trip going East Coast, West Coast, and we had tryouts, and we had everything under the sun going on.
Man, Triple H is a workhorse. I feel like he's always been.
Back to back, and I was in Florida when towards the end of that, I started feeling really run down. I thought I had some COVID, which I had before.
COVID sucks.
Twice, and had a run of COVID without symptoms, but I was beginning to think that I was having shortness of breath and everything else. I went and got tested for COVID. I didn't have it, but I had a viral pneumonia.
Ooh,
my lungs
damn.
were inflamed, and as the next couple of days went on, when I got home, it got increasingly worse. And my wife saw some blood and stuff that I was coughing up, and went and got checked. And it was coming from the viral pneumonia, but I had fluid in my lungs. I had some fluid around my heart, so they followed up on it, did an EKG and echo and everything. And basically, the way your heart pumps out, 55 to 60% of your ejection fractures is a good number. I was at 30. And I got a text message saying, "Don't take time, pack a bag real quick, head to the emergency room. I'll fill you in on the way."
Now, who sent you the text message?
From one of my doctors.
Okay.
That was just kind of following this.
And that is why, guys, you have to stay on top of like doctor appointments and stuff. Because serious stuff like this can happen.
By the time I got to the emergency room, my ejection fracture had gone down to 22. Which I was in heart failure.
Wow.
Bad. By the next morning, as they figured that out that evening, by the next morning, as they were sending me in to get an MRI done and about to go in for a heart cath, my ejection fracture was down to 12. So
holy shit!
I was nosediving and sort of at the 1 yard line of, where you need to be and or where you don't want to be really for your family and your future. When they got inside, I basically genetically had a 99% blockage in my left anterior descending artery, which is what they call the widowmaker. My heart had started to create a secondary pathway, but that was clogged as well. So I was basically, moments away. If I'd have thrown a clot or of any type or had any kind of thickening, I was gone.
Wow.
And that's the kind of thing that's sudden and instantaneous, and you don't know. what I did know was my dad had a bypass, triple bypass at 62. My grandfather passed away at 70 from heart disease. I didn't know. I just found a couple of weeks prior to that my great grandfather had died at 52, sudden death. So it was a genetic issue that had kind of kicked in out of nowhere.
And even though you knew that history, you never suspected, you never saw any inclination, any indication whatsoever that this is something that could potentially happen to you?
I mean, everybody knows it could potentially happen to them, right? But that's why they call it the silent killer. Yeah. But, you know, through WWE's wellness program, we had some of the best cardiologists in the world. I never had high blood pressure. I was checked all the time. Never had high blood pressure. Never had high cholesterol. You know, I never had an issue. Had a little bit of an athletic heart, which most athletes do, right? A little bit of enlargement, but nothing serious. Nothing. Never once had been talked about medication or anything else. It just came out of nowhere, and you know, but came out of nowhere at a point where, you know, it's touch and go in that moment, and it could have been go at any point in time.
Wow, that's crazy, guys.
The emotional aspect of all of this, because your lovely wife is standing right over there. You know, everybody knows how much you love that lady. It was not to love about her, for crying out loud. But, you know, to know that you're going through this, and essentially your life is on the line. I imagine that she was right by your side the whole time. What was this like for her? And what was this like for you watching her go through this with you?
She was a rock, always is for me. But,
wow. Right now there's an ad playing. That's why I, went mute. That is insane. Like, that's why, guys, you need to be on top of, like, your health when it comes to blood work and doctor appointments. It's important.
Never.
Very important.
You know, and we have three young girls, 15, 13, 11. You know, suddenly I come home, I'm a little bit sick, and their dad, who's, you know, strong always.
The King of Kings.
Suddenly is in the hospital, and I don't know if they understood the consequences of it, but, you know, there's moments in there where you, when they're putting you out for stuff, and you think, is this it? You know, do you wake up for this?
Wow.
That's tough to swallow.
Man, thank God Triple H is okay and he's alive, man.
I'm sure as you've come out of your COVID scare, makes you think differently about life. Doesn't make you any less driven for the things that you do, but it certainly makes you appreciate the things that you have more.
Yes, I will say that having, the virus, like, it made me really, appreciate the little things a lot.
Yeah. Once I got out,
this whole pandemic has.
Not judging any way or another, but when I read reports,
lockdown was like 2 years ago.
Much about this. You were relatively quiet about it. When folks approached your wife, she said, "You're doing fine. He's looking great. He's feeling great," and that's basically about it.
Which I think is the right thing, because like you don't want to put more stress on Triple H.
Aftermath of it all, did you want to wait where you're not sure about how you were feeling? What was it? Because obviously you're a very articulate individual. You know, you're a leader, you're an executive, and you're somebody who's known for speaking on a plethora of issues.
Yeah.
But you were relatively quiet at this particular moment in time.
Which I think is the best thing that he's got to do.
It's very surreal, as I said, but you certainly don't want to misspeak on it. But yeah, I think the not saying anything was not knowing. And then you're in the thick of it, and it's like this whirlwind of stuff coming in that you're confused about. You don't want to speak about something and be wrong on it and have to go back later and correct yourself.
Especially like when you have a following like Triple H. Like, I definitely see where he's coming from.
With that being said, you do know more now.
Yeah.
So where is Triple H as we speak? I mean, I'm imagining you've reflected on the workload you had on your shoulders. People are looking
needs
at you
to cut some of that workload off of
you
him.
You're also a great champion. What does the future hold for Triple H right now? That's what people want to know.
Yeah.
What do you say to them when asked that question?
Well, for me, you know, as far as
Stephen A. always gets to the point.
You'll never.
I won't. No, I would never wrestle. And first of all, I have a defibrillator in my chest, which, you know, probably not a good idea for me to get zapped on live TV.
How about that?
Yeah. But I think I was already in a place in my career, as far as in-ring goes, where it was kind of I was comfortable with being done and being finished. If the right thing came along, I hadn't really said much, but if the right thing came along and they wanted me to do it, I had had a conversation with Vince McMahon about doing something at WrestleMania this year in Dallas, which we had talked about and there were plans for. Obviously, when this happened, it shut all that down. As far as the schedule, you know, WWE is an intense place. It's 24/7, much like yourself, where you're just running.
Right.
I think it's just put things in perspective for me.
Totally get that. What are you going to be doing in the wrestling world as an executive now? Because we know you're not letting...
I really hope that he stays behind the scenes and
My
stuff.
foot's not off the gas. I suppose in some manner I've got to step
Because
back
with his
I'm
wrestling
still
mind,
in recovery, and my
we need
my
him.
endurance is not exactly quite what it used to be before. But right now I'm back. I'm at the office. I am fully focused on recruiting and development of our talent in the future. And you know, whether that's building more performance centers, whether that's finding the next young stud that's out there, male or female, like Gable Steveson, you know, recently two-time NCAA champion, gold medalist at the Olympics, right? His next step is...
Man, they got a lot of hype with Gable Steveson. I really hope he, shows up.
The other day, his next step is with WWE and with us. It's finding that. It's creating that future, and that's the biggest focus for me. And as we move forward from there, it's making sure that WWE is a success for generations to come.
WrestleMania 38.
I absolutely respect Triple H so
that's,
much.
That's the Super Bowl in a lot of people's eyes. It's big time, no question about it. We've got Brock Lesnar, we've got Roman Reigns. When you look at what's going on...
That's it, literally.
WWE, world of wrestling.
Well, Stone Cold and Edge and AJ Styles.
Is at this particular moment in time, because I think it's booming.
It is, without a doubt, and I do believe
it's booming, but WWE product, they need to change some stuff.
Where it will be. You know, it's every single year it grows and it grows and it grows. Right? WrestleMania this year will be in AT&T Stadium for 2 nights in front of, you know, hundreds of thousands of people probably over those 2 nights. It's massive on a global scale. The reach of it is incredible. We're just nicking the surface internationally of where we can be. We're growing by leaps and bounds, and I think that this next level of athlete that's coming in the door, you know, there's a whole generation of kids and athletes that grew up watching WWE to be the biggest form of entertainment they knew of. They see The Rock. They see, you know, guys like The Undertaker.
And they need to mold themselves into themselves. That's how we get superstars.
Globally. There's not a lot of people in sports in any way, shape, or form that can do that.
It excites me, but I also worry about it in a certain respect. I grew up watching Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Randy Savage, the Ultimate Warrior.
And we're never going to get those if people don't mold themselves into these iconic characters.
Goldberg was my all-time favorite. That's just me. I love Goldberg just because of his entrance alone.
You know Stephen A. got to get his moment.
That's okay. That's okay. It's all right. I mean, there's a lot of victims. I mean, 175-0 at one point to start off everything. I'm looking at it from that perspective and seeing how they've transcended even John Cena to a lesser degree. Obviously, The Rock that I already brought up, Dwayne Johnson, others. How challenging is it going to be for you to find that next somebody?
Oh, it's going to be hard with their freaking creative team. I'll tell you that. That's why they need Triple H back there.
Isn't that the challenge of Triple H? Because you're the guy that finds guys like that.
It absolutely is. Larger than life is what we're after. Right. You're not looking for the guy that you can see. No, nobody pays to see their next door neighbor. Their next door neighbor lives next door. You don't need to pay. So look out the window. They want to see somebody larger than life that they can't believe exists. When you look around today, you see that already. I think when you look back 10 years from now, you're going to see Roman Reigns as one of those transcendent figures.
Yes, Triple H is right on that.
Charlotte Flair.
No,
those transcendent figures.
not Charlotte.
Ronda Rousey. You know,
Rousey's overrated.
What made Brock Lesnar more famous?
Brock Lesnar, GOAT.
WWE, went to UFC or where he is now. Like there's so many aspects to that.
Okay, another ad. Man, they do need to have more larger-than-life characters, definitely. I agree with Roman and I agree with Brock. Charlotte, no.
They're already there, right? It's funny that in the moments of it, when John Cena was first coming along, people were like, hey, he's good, but he's never going to be that transcendent figure. And here he is, where he is. Yeah, no question. The Peacemaker, all the things that he has going on, he transcends. The Rock, biggest box office star in Hollywood. You know, all those things happen over time. the people are there in place now. The funny thing about what we do is sometimes you can plan for this person to be the biggest thing in the world, and it's not that one. It's this one over here that you're not looking at that just won't take no.
I feel like there's a lot of that.
And they just light the world on fire. You know, Becky Lynch is a great example of that. She
Yes.
just came in and said,
Triple H is right on that.
And no matter what anybody thought about it, she went and did it. And she succeeded.
Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Can't forget that name.
No.
Big time.
Pat is so good in
Now on
WWE.
SiriusXM podcast, doing great things. Love the guy.
You know
personally.
Stephen A is going to talk
He's
about
fighting
him.
some guy. Who's he fighting? Was it Austin?
He's going to fight Austin Theory
Right.
with Vince McMahon's backing, which means, you know, look, if you know anything about Vince, he's not going to play fair. So McAfee's going to have his hands full.
That's right. Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you, how do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to do great. You know, Pat has performed in ring for us before. And
NXT.
just blew everybody's mind with how good he was.
Black and gold
at this.
brand.
You know, little known fact about Pat is that he really wanted to be in WWE, went and bought himself a ring,
Wow.
threw it in his barn, and has been training in it for years.
Wow.
People don't give him credit for that because he wanted to do this. Pat's one of those unique performers that when you talk about larger than life and building yourself up, right? He's got the gift of gab.
Oh, easily.
Not many people
His
have it,
charisma
right?
and ego is through the
Make
roof.
yourself a household name
Right.
just by that. You can back it up athletically, and that's what matters in our world. Those two things.
Before I let you go, I got a little recruiting element for you. You know, I mean, I ain't getting in no damn ring to wrestle.
Nah.
I'm not doing it. But
Stephen A on commentary would be hilarious.
That I've idolized for years. Bobby the Brain Heenan. Ric Flair because of whoa, you know how I feel about Ric Flair. And Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be one of those bad guy managers.
I
think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do that one of these days.
Let me say there's a connective tissue between all of those.
Stephen A is already a heel on ESPN.
Really be someone that people want
Comes
to
at my
punch in
Brooklyn
the face
Nets
on a
all the
regular
time.
basis.
Yeah.
I believe that most people want to punch you in the face on a regular basis.
I think so.
I think you'd be awesome at it.
Us Brooklyn Net fans wanna.
I got to talk to Vince and you and the crew. You're gonna have to pay me now. You're gonna have to pay me.
We'll have that discussion. Yeah. Vince is a shrewd negotiator, my friend.
Man, I'm so happy to see you, man. So happy to see you.
I'm happy to be here.
All the best.
I'm happy you're here.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, my man. One and only Triple H. Best of luck to him in the future, and we'll all be watching WrestleMania on April 2nd and 3rd.
Wow. That is a lot of stuff to take. I am just still in complete shock that Triple H can no longer compete in the ring. I really hope moving forward now, Triple H does more with... I really hope he does more behind the scenes because I feel like the creative team and a lot of them can definitely use his help. And I think even on screen, like, they could definitely use him in some, like, authority role or something like that. Maybe not right now because obviously he's back now after 6 months, just getting back in the office and things. You gotta, give it time. And of course, Triple H has got to focus on his number one priority, and that's his family and his health. But it's great to see Triple H, though, on ESPN doing this interview with Stephen A. He looks very healthy. I'm glad that, Triple H is alive and he's doing well because, his daughters, they need him. Of course, Stephanie as well needs her husband. It's great to see that. It just sucks that, his career had to end like this. But I really hope moving forward they do a lot more with Triple H behind the scenes. Like, I hope... that he can, try to help creative out a little bit more and, like he was saying in this interview, create more of those stars, like once-in-a-lifetime generational stars. That's what WWE is missing right now. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this interview with Stephen A. and Triple H. I think that it's great to just see Triple H, speak for the first time in 6 months. Glad he's doing okay. But if you enjoyed this reaction, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, help support the channel by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. Links down in the description below. You can go follow We Are Wrestling over on our social medias. All that is down in the links below. But of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.